Hello. You survived the Man of Medan, so no doubt you discovered that the legend had a glimmer of truth to it. Now, I wanted to show you this.
And action!
I'm Jessica Jeffries. I'm a casting director and first AD for motion capture. In video games, everything's kept so top secret. I was given limited information in regards to the game itself and the characters that I was needing to cast. What's interesting is I come at it from a very specific character description, whereas the director and producers, etc., they all have a voice in their head from the voice actors that have already done the character performance. So once I take that character description, I then look to finding the best actors possible for the job.
The place must have been a grocery store or something.
Is it safe?
Think so.
With casting, especially for this particular game, we needed actors that are very good at taking direction, good at thinking on their feet, good at accepting things that aren't a norm. For example, suddenly switching time periods and then embodying a completely different character, whether that's human or anything else. We also needed actors that were physically aware. So when we needed the more challenging physical aspects for the characters, we need people that are switched on and could use their imagination because they've got no sets, no environments here.
I'm not wanting anyone to see yourself get killed! This is suicide!
With motion capture, what's really interesting is that you don't always get a lot of information to begin with. So a lot of it you learn on set in the moment. We have 3 characters each, and each of those are from different time periods. So it's just really important to be focused and really alive and in the moment, and you kind of take what you can with what the producers and the directors tell you about the characters, and then you just got to jump in and give it all you've got.
The performance capture in here is very different to how you'd work traditionally in that you're more aware of the fact that there are many hands in your performance. So if I'm on stage, I know that I'm in control of that performance in its entirety. I completely own that performance. I'm responsible for what my character does on stage that night. Whereas here, I know that I'm only responsible for a part of that, and that's quite freeing actually. So I can work toward a character and give as much good data as possible because I know that there are animators in there are designers in there that are all contributing toward it.
No! Let me go! I have to save her!
It's quite tricky playing mocap, especially with this where the physical performance is separate to the voice performance. You're often hearing the dialogue or reading the dialogue for the very first time, and then you have to do it straight away, so there's not a lot of time to let the thoughts settle. You have to be quite quick with it. And then often the way the actor will perform the line may be different to how you would first interpret it, so you have to make sure that your physical response works with the vocal performance.
As soon as you're working in horror, you need an exceptional level of imagination from an actor. So our actors need to be able to portray a real intensity. They need to be able to use breath and subtle elements of their performance to portray an intensity that we're at within that story.
It's slightly different because you don't have the props and the set, and that can get you into that mode and that feeling. So if you do a horror movie, then you are apprehensive because you're not sure when that actor's going to pop out, and there's smoke screen, and the set helps you with the feeling of it, whereas this, you do have to completely go back to your imagination and imagine how scared you are that you don't know that monster's going to come out from the grate and grab you.
My favourite scenes are, to be honest, the action scenes. It's kind of what I live for. I've trained in martial arts for many years, so this sort of thing is totally up my street. So when it's a bit more of a challenge, try to embrace it as much as possible.
Favourite scene so far has been pushed out of a window because you get to fall. You know, there's like a big 3-metre platform, and you get pushed off and fall on into a squishy mat, which makes me very happy.
Anthony! Up here! What the fuck are you doing up there?
The stuntmen are great because they make everything look effortless and make sure that you do it correctly. If we were doing it, we'd probably just go full hell for leather and hit someone around the head and pull out your shoulder, but they teach you how to pick everything up and the proper way to swing to make sure you do it correctly.
Portraying the traumatic scenes is difficult because the scenes aren't always chronological, so you go into a scene of that level of emotional state and energy and you have to click into gear straight away without necessarily the build-up. But usually you just have to respond to the other actors in the scene, and it tends to be that they give you enough that you can believe you're in this scenario and truthfully respond. And then on the other side of it, there's some scenes where it's just so tiring, where we don't stop running and we do about 10 takes of the same scene. So by the end of it, you're having to do it as if you're doing it for the first time, but really you're just knackered as a performer.
3, 2, 1, go.
The thing I found most difficult is learning how helpful I can be for an animator and kind of go, well, I've been given lots of freedom in terms of performance and what I do, but there are a set of rules that aren't present here that will really, really help out animators. And it's trying to keep those in mind while you're performing. We have to go, oh, I have to remember the last take I did this, which was 2 months ago, I think my hands were in this position. Because you haven't necessarily got the references to go back and look at them.
It's like being a kid again. It is a chance to play and pretend. Very rarely have I ever been asked to be like the Witchfinder General or a bus driver or all these different roles that you get to play in 1 week. It's just phenomenal. We get to roll around the floor and pretend to be demons, and it's great.
Come on, you fucker!
Motion capture is the most fun job you can do as an actor because it's playing. It's what we did when we were children. You're not restricted by sets, you're not restricted by lighting setups and loads of continuity and props people around you like in film. You are just able to play and use your imagination to put yourself in the correct environment.
Yes, God, I keep saying it's loads of fun, but it is the most fun I've had with my clothes on for years. It's great.